Hello again, this is a Roco International model. It's a French SNCF locomotive, a BB22201. This one is catalogue number 04194S, and I believe it was produced between around about 1986 to around about 2005. After then, Roco did a remake of this model and enhanced it with some new tooling and NEM pockets, but this one is before then, so it won't have NEM pockets. I bought this model to go with a set of coaches which I've also reviewed on this channel. They were from Lima and they were actually pretty good, and this locomotive would be ideal to haul them, I believe. You'll notice that the part number had an S on it. Often Roco had different letters depending on colour schemes, but from what I can find out, I think this is maybe something to do with it being an enhanced edition with possibly some additional details added onto this locomotive. It's a very stylish electric locomotive, really keen to have a look at it, so let's get this out of the box and we'll check it out. So we've got an instruction sheet here which shows some of the details of the history of this locomotive down here, and at the bottom of this leaflet it's showing that you can switch it from normal two rail to overhead pickup as well, which is great. And on the back it's got some information about how to keep this model running perfectly. It actually mentions here it's got a 5-pole motor as well, which is great. And here is the model. It's one of my most favourite French locomotives, and in this colour scheme with the orange kind of electric flash down the side, it really looks very stylish, very French looking as well. I can't wait to have a closer look at this, so let's check it out. So one thing's for sure, this is actually quite a heavy locomotive, so we'll weigh this a bit later on, and also I'll tell you how much I paid for this as a second-hand model. At the front here we've got the very stylish looking cab front to this locomotive, which has been pulled off really well in this moulding. The masking isn't too bad at all. It suffers just a little bit of fuzziness there at the join between the bottom of the windows and the lighter grey bonnet part, and also up here as well the masking isn't just absolutely spot on. But it's not too bad at all. It's quite a complicated livery, this one, and I also like the colours of it. It looks really good. The front here with the orange going round looks great as well. We've got the SNCF logo very defined there, and this locomotive's lights, which are illuminated, or they should be anyway, because that was detailed in the instructions. We've got some rivet detail on the buffer beam, and the buffers are separate parts which have been added in here in plastic. So there is a lot of nice detail at the front of this locomotive moulded into the main piece of plastic. As we look down the side, we've got handrails at the door here, and it looks like the orange stripe is masked off and painted onto this model. It actually goes onto the top of the grille here. I'm not sure whether that's prototypical or not. I kind of suspect it probably isn't. The grille is a different colour and it's actually quite deep as well, so it looks very convincing. I love the SNCF logo here in the silver, and it sits proud of the body as well, which is cool. You can see the Alstrom sticker here, and there's more writing in yellow here, which you can barely see actually. It's quite a strange colour combination to have yellow writing on a almost yellowy brown fawn coloured body shell. This part here is picked out in silver as well, which is great. And we have another one here along with the locomotive number here, which again is picked out in silver. Another transfer here and the orange painting masked off down here, and no difference on the locomotive here. Looking up on the roof, unfortunately the horns have actually broken off this end of the locomotive. They're okay on the other end, but you know, this is a second-hand model, so you'd expect some bashes, especially with the age of this model too. I love these little lift rings on all the panels on the top of this locomotive. Looks like we've had one broken off at this corner maybe, not quite sure, because we have one on this corner, but we have them on all the other panels. And I like the checkerboard effect here, just moulded into the main top piece. But we do have a metal pantograph, and that operates very well. It's very delicate too, but it looks really good. And it's got the metal skid on the top, so you can obviously pick up from overhead with this, but it doesn't look as though that's ever happened with this model. But that is a really nice looking pantograph. Moving further down, we've got this silver part here, which is a separate piece with all the grille detail on it. But the top of the body shell here has actually been painted silver to match it, and that's just been masked off. So this is separate, but this is part of the main body shell. If I flip the locomotive around this side, you can see the little insulators here and the metal wire running between the two overheads. We seem to have this piece here which looks as though it's maybe been broken off from somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it's from. I think possibly it attaches onto this part here and it's just broken off, which is a shame. This is a separate piece made in plastic and added on. And you can see the little switcher there for the overhead pickup if you want to. We've got a little aerial sticking up here, an extra piece of plastic, and some more electrical gear as well. This is all very delicate, so it's quite easy to break a lot of these things off if you're not too careful. But looking down here, we've got these chunky bogies that this locomotive has, and they've got a lot of nice deep relief on it with the springs. I love this little cable that's added in here. That's an extra piece. And the wheels do have quite big flanges on them. but hopefully it'll be okay on the test track, which we'll give a go in a minute. I mentioned about the couplings, no NEM pockets here, but we do have ones that cantilever, but they are attached to the bogie. In the middle, there's this panel here, which is made out of plastic. This looks like an extra from an old Star Trek film, maybe, because it's a bit science fiction-y and a bit chunky, but it looks okay, I guess. The finish on it is quite good too. And there's no difference on the bogie at the front here, apart from the traction tyres here, and you can see Roco made in Austria underneath here. So I think this is a fantastic looking model, and it's certainly quite heavy. I'm dying to give it a go on the test track to make sure it works, but first let's put it on the scales and see how much it weighs. So this model comes in at 407 grams. Okay, here we are on a bit of test track, and as normal it's Hornby third radius. I'm using my H&M controller on 12 volts DC to give it some power, so let's see what happens. Well, absolutely no problems there at all. It runs fantastic and it can crawl along at a really slow pace as well. It's really quite impressive. It is a little bit noisy though, but it's not too bad overall. So that's a big win for this model. I'm interested to find out what it's like inside though, so let's see if we can get this apart. Well, not the easiest model to get apart, but I actually found it a bit easier to take these tanks off. They're just a push fit into the bottom part here, and with those off, it actually allowed me to pull this apart, and then it came apart without any problems really. So the body shell is just made of plastic, and you can see inside it's actually moulded in black. There's the wire for the overhead pickup, and also we have some lighting from central bulbs as well. It looks as though we have directional lights too, although when I had it on the test track I didn't see that, but it is quite bright on this stage. Got to have a lot of lighting for the camera to pick up things. But what you can see here is that there's no cab detail because there's just this panel quite up close to the windows and there's just no interior then. And this is very much in line with Roco models of this era, where you get a massive chassis made out of metal. It gives it all the weight, and we have a central CAN motor underneath this circuit board. We've got the lights on top here, just two bulbs here which transmit the light down those bits of plastic in the body shell. We've got the switcher for the overhead here, and this transmits the power from the pantographs down onto the circuit board. We've got drive out to both sets of axles, but we only have traction tyres on one set of wheels. So it looks like it's picking up from both bogies, and we have all-wheel drive as well. So it's a pretty neat setup. It seems to work pretty well. We've seen this in many other locomotives from Roco of this era. Anyway, let me get this back together and I'll give you my final verdict and how much it cost. So this old Roco International model of these French SNCF BB class number 22201, I think is a really good model. It comes from an era when locomotives were made to a pretty good standard, I think. They had a lot of nice detail on them, especially electric locomotives with all the gear on the roof. The finish was acceptable. It's certainly very good for the time. By today's standards, it's maybe lacking a little bit, but it's certainly highly acceptable still. And the robustness of the mechanism on these models really shines through. That massive chassis gives it some weight, and the drive to all the wheels and the massive big CAN motor really make this perform very well. These types of models are definitely enduring, and they probably will last for a very long time in the future. There are some things that are a little bit crude, like the pantographs aren't up to today's standards, and maybe the moulding could be a bit crisper here and there, and things like the wheels are a little bit overscaled compared to what you get today. But these are minor things compared to the overall quality of this model, and it'll do sterling work on your layout. I love this class of locomotive. I think it's one of France's best designs. It really looks quite neat and something very special. So, as a second-hand model, should you consider this? Well, I think probably yes, especially if you're modelling French railways. I think it's a no-brainer. But if you want something that's tough, robust, and is going to last a long time, then these models could be for you. But that leads me on to how much did I pay for this? Well, this model actually cost me £50, but you can pay anything between around about 40 to around about 90, depending on the condition. I think the condition in this is almost spot on. There's only a little tiny bit of damage on it, so I probably underpaid, which is good for me. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. And if you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around. And in a moment, another video will appear, so click on that and I'll see you there. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
So model train, model worlds, choo choo, model trains, in tiny worlds, choo choo, little model trains, tiny train, model worlds, choo choo, model trains, in tiny worlds, choo choo.